Okay, welcome to our second webinar. We just started recording, so this will be available on our website in the resource library after it finishes recording. And what we're going to do today is talk about Mochas for Missions. The first half, roughly, of our time together will be dedicated to just giving some background to the program. And then we'll be sharing with some of the other people on the call who've done Mochas for Missions at their parishes in the past so that you can see from them and learn from them how their program went. So I'm going to be presenting with a PowerPoint, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And in the meantime, I just want to let you all know that if you have a question during the presentation, go ahead and type that into the chat screen, the chat window, and I will make sure to show that to you, to respond to those questions as they come in. So first, let me see if, give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay, there we go. So you should be seeing the PowerPoint, and now it's in the slideshow format. Okay, so I just want to give some background first on Mochas for Missions. As many of you know, it is our annual fundraising campaign in the Metropolis of San Francisco, and it funds our Ministry for Missions and Evangelism, which is called COM, or the Commission for Orthodox Missions and Evangelism. So this is a little drawing here. I just wanted to show you that somebody had done at my parish when I told them about the Mochas for Missions theme. And it's a foregoing coffee, little coffee cup for foregrowing churches. And so that's basically the idea behind Mochas for Missions, and we're just going to explore that a little bit more. But that's why we call it Mochas for Missions. So we're going to talk about what it is for a few minutes, and then look inside the packet. And I have one in front of me, so I'll share that with you. And I'll be showing you each thing as I pull it out. And then we'll meet some of the other people on the phone call who have done Mochas for Missions. And I also have some pictures from other parishes and their displays at their parishes. So first, what is it? So we have two goals with this campaign. The first is awareness, and the second is fundraising. We want to use the campaign period to get everyone in the parish excited about growing Orthodoxy. And a lot of people are unaware still that, when we say mission, it brings up different thoughts. It brings up Africa or India or what's going on at Project Mexico, and those are all indeed missions, but very few people think of our American, country, our part of the West Coast as a mission field. And so we are trying to raise awareness that there's still a lot of areas of the United States that are underserved by Orthodox churches, for one. So there may be people that want to be Orthodox or are Orthodox, but don't have a place to worship near them. That's one thing. Another thing is that a lot of people in the United States haven't heard the gospel, or haven't heard, it's no longer can be assumed that they know the basic Bible stories and the Christian stories and viewpoint and the gospel of Jesus Christ. So it's really important for us to have that mindset that, we are missionaries. Orthodox Christians are only 1% of the population in the United States. And we have, where we do have churches, we want to be welcoming new people in. And where we don't have parishes, we need to be praying and thinking about, could we start a new parish there? Is it a place where a parish would be viable? So this whole campaign period, we really want to use it to raise awareness for that. The second goal is fundraising, and originally this was called Pennies and Prayers. Back in I think it was the late 1980s, it started as a international missions funding. They would it started actually at Holy Trinity Cathedral in Portland, Oregon, and I guess at one of the parish council meetings, they were really struggling with how are we going to repair the roof, and we have a lot of needs here, and we don't have the financial means to meet them. So at the same time, one of the parish council members said, okay, let's take a break from this discussion because it's very intense of trying to figure out how we're going to repair our roof, and let's read something about the missions in Africa and how they don't even have a church, to kind of help put things in perspective. And so for them that time forward, they had this idea of passing around a canister or a cup at each parish council meeting to raise something for international missions. And so that's how it started. It was pennies and prayers, to offer something small, but to be praying for our brothers and sisters who are just building, a church and are just thankful to have the very beginnings of an Orthodox community. So from there, in 1991, the Commission for Orthodox Missions and Evangelism was founded, and Pennies and Prayers transitioned to fund that ministry and the domestic mission projects. So one of the things that might be funded by COME, especially in those early years, was that maybe there was a priest that was serving part-time at a parish, and they needed to help subsidize his health insurance, or maybe we could create like a bookstore grant to help a new parish start a bookstore. So it's through these small projects that these parishes really were able to be sustained and take off, and in some cases grow into very active, full parishes, such as St. John the Baptist in Beaverton, where I attend, Holy Apostles in Shoreline, Washington, and several others. I think in the time that Metropolitan Anthony served here in the Metropolis of San Francisco, 23 parishes were founded. So Pennies and Prayers was just a small part of kind of helping with the small fledgling parishes as they began, and giving them little bits of help. So with the implementation of our strategic plan in 2014, and my hiring as the full-time assistant director, the funding helps to fulfill those strategic objectives. So they realized with the implementation of the strategic plan that there was a lot of work still to be done, and that we needed to focus on those new questions, on those new objectives. And so they said, one of the things we need to do is turn to Mochas for Missions, which was Pennies and Prayers, and make it even more active. So I see that there's a question. How many mission parishes are currently in our metropolis? There are 6. So the way that we define that is that we say a mission parish is a parish that does not have a full-time priest. And we also have 9 mentored parishes, which that's a little bit more loosely defined. It's kind of like parishes that maybe have gone through a really big transition recently, such as going from not having a full-time priest for many, many, many years to finally having a full-time priest again. And so during that time of transition and trying to get back into the stewardship and the sustaining of a full-time priest, they will be a mentored parish for a time period. So we have 15 total that are called mission and mentored. 6 do not have priests, and 9 are mentored. Good question. So the idea is with fundraising, whenever you're raising money, one of the things that I think is great about it is that it always brings more awareness to the cause. And so we really don't want this program to be something where 2 people or 3 people or the parish council sit down and write a check and say, oh, we did our Mochas for Missions thing, we sent them their $20, or we sent them their $500, or whatever it ends up being. We would rather that the entire parish is aware of the needs, aware of the work that this ministry is doing, and aware of the mission opportunity in our country. So although maybe it would be easier, less time consuming, and perhaps even more profitable to sit and write a check in some cases, I strongly encourage every parish to really run the campaign and to really use it to help their parishioners hear about the good work that is happening and be inspired to further that work. So this is just a little sticker image that I found. I wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of people are still getting used to the idea that we're calling it Mochas for Missions. It's the 3rd year that we're doing that, but it was originally Pennies and Prayers, and this is one of the stickers you might have seen over the years. And I also am really working hard so that people don't think, oh, well, we've got Pennies and Prayers, and we've got Mochas for Missions, and we have this, and we have that. I wanted them to be very encouraged that we weren't just adding a new thing, but we're really replacing something. So in 2015, we did the theme change to Mochas for Missions, and down in the lower right corner is the new sticker, and that was designed so it could go over, like if you had canisters in your parish, it could go over the other sticker. And it says, all of our materials say formerly known as Pennies and Prayers, to help people make that connection. So if you're in a parish where they haven't made the jump to Mochas for Missions yet, all of our materials say formerly Pennies and Prayers, so that it helps people to connect the two themes to the same exact fund and ministry. So the Come Board had been thinking for a long time, Pennies and Prayers it's a sweet name, it's got the alliteration, but people are giving pennies, and it doesn't really indicate by its name what it's going for. And one of our parishes had started doing Mochas for Missions just kind of on their own. They had changed their Pennies and Prayers campaign to Mochas for Missions, and it was really working for them, because basically they would just have a lot of fun with the whole coffee theme, and they would say, like, every time you pass a Starbucks, remember this campaign. And they would hand out little bags, or they'd hand out coffee cups for people to put their money in instead of canisters. And so we kind of capitalized on the multi-million-dollar marketing of all the different coffee companies, because they did such a good job at the parish of talking about Mochas for Missions, give up your mochas and do missions instead. And they had all these really catchy phrases about Starbucks and Pete's and Dutch Brothers and all these local coffee shops, where they were kind of joking about friends don't let friends drink Starbucks when they could be giving to missions, or just things like that, fun phrases. And so everybody at the parish during that entire season, when they passed, Dutch Brothers or Pete's Coffee or Starbucks, were thinking, oh wait, that reminds me, I haven't given my Mochas for Missions donation, or let me put $1 in the Mochas for Missions cup in my car while I'm getting coffee. So it became very fun. And so the board reviewed some different proposals of name changes and decided, this is relatable. It helps to have the word missions in the name, and it encourages people to sacrifice a little bit more than pennies. So, price of a mocha is like $3.50, $4. So let's say you gave up 10 of those in the course of the campaign period, and that would be $40. So it's a really neat way of making one everyday treat. A sacrifice of that is very easy to see how that could add up and be meaningful for the campaign. So the other thing that we really tried to do is in all of our materials, in the posters, articles, bulletin inserts, we included a lot of information about where the money is going and how the missions are doing. And so that really helped us. And that first year, 2015, was very successful and very encouraging. Then last year, let's see, oops, sorry. That's 2016, we transitioned to no longer being a Philoptochos obligation. So Philoptochos, out of, they are doing so many wonderful almsgiving projects, and they had at some point become kind of caretakers of the Pennies and Prayers program. And after I was hired and began producing all these materials for Mochas for Missions and creating a lot more materials and data and tracking it, they decided, we're doing a lot of great programs and we really support this program, but it looks like it has, it's in good hands under the Come ministry. So it's no longer a Philoptochos obligation, which just means that I guess the Philoptochos chapters tend to give to an array of different causes every year, and they're called their obligations. So they make sure to try to give, at least a small donation, or to really participate in different things. And they have so much going on. They do wonderful things, Kids in Cancer, Camp Agape, they support our seminarians. And so they have all these wonderful programs, and Mochas for Missions was one of those. But because it's funding the Come ministry, we just decided to move it over to there. And so the case, so even though that's the case in 2016, many Philipticos chapters still were leading the program because they're just like, we love the cause, we're used to it, we like it, let's just keep doing it. So you'll find maybe in your parish or in the parish next door that, you know, it's still somebody from Philipticos who's running the campaign and they just have a heart for it and want to keep doing it. In other parishes, it may be just one individual that said, oh, that sounds fun, and I've been looking for a way to give back to the parish, and I'll take it on. And then in other parishes that have a Missions and Evangelism Ministry, it's often somebody from that team that will take on the campaign because it's very related to their work as a ministry. So that is how Mochas for Missions is running. It's different in every parish, basically, at this point. So sometimes through Philipticos, sometimes through Missions and Evangelism, and sometimes just through like an individual or even a member of the clergy that is, you know, just wants to take it under his wing. So in 2016, we noticed that a fewer parishes participated, but the average donation per parish increased. So I think people were, you know, the parishes that did participate were feeling a stronger connection with the cause and the information. So that's really good to see. Are there any questions? Okay, we'll keep going. All right, so now we're gonna look at the packet. So these were mailed out last Tuesday, and I know it's kind of a rush to get the packet, and then hopefully some of you have this in your hands to go from getting the packet right into having a webinar and trying to think about how you're gonna organize it. But I wanted to get this webinar in before we have the Folk Dance Festival next week, which a lot of people are involved with. And I also wanted to give you a little bit of time and heads up before we, most parishes start the campaign on Forgiveness Sunday. And so I wanted to try and give you a chance to wrap your head around it and meet other people. So I have a question here. Was the packet only sent to your metropolis? Yes. So the packet, because Mochas for Missions funds our ministry in the Metropolis of San Francisco, it is only sent out to parishes in the Metropolis of San Francisco. I'm very glad that, you know, people outside the metropolis are interested in learning more about what we're doing, because maybe it could be sort of part of their transition into having a metropolis level missions and evangelism ministry, or maybe a parish decides they want to do something similar and it could fund their projects as a missions and evangelism ministry on the parish level. But for now, it's only a Metropolis of San Francisco fundraiser campaign, and that's because it funds a metropolis ministry. So yes. Okay, so in the packet, and I'm gonna, you'll see in the picture right there, there's like, it says, there's a little like Valentine's tag and ribbon, and that we tied those around all of the packets, and it says, thank you for growing Orthodoxy in America. So that was our little nod to Valentine's Day. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, I think, so that you can just see my video a little bit closer up. And then, so let's see, does that work? Okay, so are you all seeing this? Okay, so this is how the packet comes out. There's a letter, and in many cases, you know, it explains what the program is if somebody's unfamiliar with it. And in a lot of cases, it'll have an indication of what the parish made the last year. So there was a blank in the paragraph where it would say, thank you so much for supporting us and raising $1,500 last year. You know, and these are the things that are changing. And so this is just an introductory letter that everybody received. Then there's a advertisement for today's webinar. Thanks for being here. Should make sure that people would see that. And then here's the main meat of the packet, and there's a little table of contents. And then you get 2 Mochas for Missions stickers. So the reason we just send 2 for now is so that people can order as many as they like. So you could call and say, you know, I'd like 200 or I want 500, and I have a stack of these here that I will mail to you. But some parishes don't use the stickers, or they use only one, and they have like one collection point on Sundays. So they just like put out a jar with one of these stickers on it. And so it doesn't make sense to, you know, mail out mass quantities to every parish. So I just want to make sure everybody knows, like, you can call me and I will send you as many as you like. That's what I'm here for. At this time of year, I send a lot of stickers out. It's good fun. So anyway, these kind of give a brief explanation of what's happening, and these can be put on a canister or a coffee cup, or we buy disposable coffee cups at St. John the Baptist and wrap them around them and put in a little information slip inside the cup before passing them out on the Sunday Forgiveness. So those are the stickers. And then there's a few different pages here. So I'm just going to lift one page at a time to show you. So there's a tips page. Tips for every Mochas for Missions campaign, and it talks about getting together with your priest and setting a fundraising goal, recruiting members to help you, creating a display, different ways that you can get the word out. It suggests collecting donations every week, reporting the total donations every week, and then sharing your parish goal and photos with me so that I can share them with others. And then when you reach your goal, celebrating that and making sure that everybody in the parish receives a big thank you and knows that you've reached your goal and that you're all done and you're putting it away for the rest of the year. And then you total up your donations and send them to COME in Beaverton, Oregon. So that's really important. Don't send them to the Metropolis or to Philiptokos, because it just delays the whole tallying process, and that happened a lot over the last couple of years. So if you can, just make sure to tell your Mochas for Missions person to send them directly to COME in Beaverton. And then on the back, it talks about some of the inserts that we have and gives some ideas about how to be creative with updates. And, you know, every week that you are doing the campaign, to put something in the bulletin that says, you know, thank you so much for your donations last week. We're now only $200 away from our goal, or we're now only, you know, we're halfway there, we're 30% there. So we've put some of our funny little phrases in here, but these are things that are just meant to spark your creativity. So be a star and give your bucks to missions. Another one is bye bye barista. I'm supporting Mochas for Missions for this Lent. For Pete's sake, give your coffee money to missions. So those are some of our plays on local coffee places. And then I've included a few pictures here at the bottom so that you can see how other parishes did their displays. We'll put that up there. Okay, and those are also going to be a little bit later on in the PowerPoint too. Then we have a page called Come Fast Facts. And the idea behind this is that you can just put this up on the bulletin board along with the poster, and people already have some meaningful information about what you're raising money for. And I know it's, you know, down below we have a list of the missions and the mentored parishes and where they are located. And people are really curious about that. I think it's important for them to know that, hey, I drive through Redding, California all the time on my way up and down the West Coast, and I had no idea there was a parish there. Next time I go, I'm going to make sure to be there on a Sunday and visit the parish there. Or I had no idea there was a parish in Prescott. You know, that's where I escaped the Phoenix heat, and I want to go check out Orthodoxy at the Prescott church. So I think it's really great for people to raise awareness of where these missions are, where the smaller parishes are, because it's very exciting to visit a small Orthodox church and see, like, you know, we're really blessed at our parish. We have all of these beautiful things. We have a great choir, we have a Sunday school, and I had no idea that there were so many parishes, or that there was this parish out here that, you know, is still recruiting. Like, they only have 2 altar boys, or, you know, they only have 1 person chanting Orthros alone. Like, it's just, it really is inspiring, and it makes you so thankful. And it also, you know, may also create these new relationships of, like, you know, now I really want to go back there, and I really want to see how they're progressing, and I really want to support their growth. And I just love it every time I get to do that. I got to go to the Salem mission, which is an hour away from where I'm at, so not too far, but I got to go there on January 29th. And it you know, I live in this missions and evangelism world, but, like, it's still very meaningful to me, like, every time, like, to go and visit a small parish and just soak in kind of the experience of, like, being, they're so thankful every time they get to have a liturgy there, and they're in a rented space, but they make they make the best of it. They do wonderful things with it. They have icons that they put out, and they work so hard every time setting up and taking down and making sure to be respectful renters. So it's just really an awesome experience. So that's one thing that I hope that this campaign inspires, is that more people will say, you know, I really want to visit a mission parish. So the next sheet in here is a sample insert, and this would go in the Sunday bulletin, like it's intended for the Sunday bulletin on the first Sunday of your Mochas for Missions campaign. And we have the file actually in Microsoft Word. It's available on the website, and I'm going to show you that page on the website in a minute. But you can download it in Microsoft Word and just change it. But we just wanted to put it in here as a sample. And what it says is it explains what the campaign is, and it says it will announce your goal. So this one says, we are challenging all families to give a minimum of $20 towards this wonderful program. If coffee is not your thing, then choose something else to give up out of love for God. Place checks and cash in the canister every Sunday. Watch as our parish advances each week towards our $2,000 goal. So this was just, those are the highlighted sections. You'll be able to see that in yellow. And the reason we did that is we wanted to give people a sense of like, this is how you get towards a $2,000 goal. If you have 100 families, can you imagine if everybody gave $20 a family, and that would get you there so easily. So I've noticed at my parish that some people, first Sunday of Mochas for Missions, or maybe in the first month, they'll just come up and they'll say, oh, I want to give my $20. And they're just like, I want to give that amount. I already know I'm going to do it. So let's just do it right now. And other people prefer to give incrementally. You know, they'll collect with their kids, they'll bring in coins, they'll kind of empty their cup into the collection point every like 3 or 4 Sundays. So it's nice to be able to give people both options, but it creates a mentality of like, we're all going to be giving us, you know, that $20 amount. And that's just an example. You might want to do less, you might want to do more. The next items, I see a question. Thank you, John. Do you have a counterpart at the other metropolises? We do not, because the Commission for Orthodox Missions and Evangelism is the only metropolis level missions and evangelism ministry in our country. So there is no other metropolis that is raising money in this way for their ministry. And it's not a given that it needs to be done this way. I mean, it could be, you know, Mochas for Missions isn't essential to having a missions and evangelism ministry, but this is the way that it has developed at the Metropolis of San Francisco. And so I don't have a counterpart at other metropolises because there isn't a counterpart ministry. So I hope that helps. We hope so in the future that there will be. So God willing, that we're moving in that direction. So the next 3 pages this year are articles, and these are formatted to an 8.5 by 11 size sheet so that they can be just inserted into your newsletter. And this year we focused, I decided with Father Theodore, our director of the Commission for Orthodox Missions and Evangelism, that it would be really neat to just focus on journeys to Orthodoxy, because we've had a lot of interest from other parishes, and how do you start collecting those in your parish, and how do you start sharing those stories, because those inspire people realizing that the person next to them, you know, just became Orthodox because they attended the festival, or just became Orthodox because, you know, they attended a wedding and then they became curious and they wanted to know more about it. So these articles are our way of showing other parishes, you know, you could start collecting these on your own, and this is the way that they might sound, or the approximate length. But also, all 3 of the ones that we chose this year, all 3 of the people that wrote their journeys for us were influenced greatly in their journey by the festival, so Greek festival. Each one of them, you know, took a church tour during a Greek festival, or visited the church, or looked at icons at the festival, and that was the beginning of their journey into Orthodoxy, or it was a continuation. So the first one, I'll just show you a couple of these, is by Lisa Buck, and it's about how she stumbled into a Greek festival, and then into a church tour. And then that led to her whole family becoming Orthodox, and they live in Roseburg and attend the Roseburg Mission. The second one is by Deborah Peterson, and she is a member of Holy Transfiguration in Anchorage. And she really came to Orthodoxy first through studying iconography and then wanting to learn more about the theology and worship experiences that people, where the icon comes from. And so she started studying about Orthodoxy through iconography. And then the final one that we have is by Sophie Becker. And she is a young woman who is actually a member of my parish. She's away at college now, but she became Orthodox after visiting the Greek festival, she and her parents. And all she wanted to do was eat delicious Greek food. And then they stumbled into the church, met somebody there who explained a few things, and then they came back on a Sunday, and that was it. They've been here ever since. So it's very inspiring to read these stories, especially like Sophie's, such a young person, came here for something totally unrelated, just wanted a good gyro, and then came away very touched and ready to learn more about Orthodoxy. And it's, she could never have predicted that herself, and we couldn't have predicted that. So it's beautiful to have these stories collected and that people could read them and be inspired. And then in turn, maybe you and your parish would like to start featuring people's journeys to Orthodoxy as a regular feature of your newsletter. And the other thing I wanted to say about that is that the articles we do 3 articles this year, because Mochas for Missions traditionally starts Forgiveness Sunday and ends Pentecost Sunday. So that's basically March, April, and May. So 3 months. So you could insert one of these articles with, with the blessing of your priest and parish administrator into the newsletter for March, April, May, and you have something that ties into the campaign really nicely right there built in. So that's ready for you. Another thing that we included this year was our winter newsletter, which many of you received in the mail, like if you were at the conference. This is also available to read online. And in the middle, it talks about how Mochas for Missions went in 2015 or 2016, has a few pictures. So that's a great resource to have out on the table with Mochas for Missions, or to read and educate yourself more about the ministry. And then we have 2 full color posters. This is your thermometer poster so that you can track your parish goal. You can enter that here, and then you can track how you're progressing towards it. And this year, they're slightly redesigned every year. This year we added a coffee cup that says Coffee Fund. And the idea is that instead of the coffee fund, you're going to be giving it into the Mochas for Missions bucket. So that's the idea there. And there's a little scan me thing, and maybe people will find that helpful, of people who use that function and be able to read more about what's going on with the ministry. Okay, last thing. This is the second poster. And this poster is very simple. We have Grow Orthodoxy in America across the top, Give Up Your Mochas for Missions, and then we have a map. And this shows where our mission and mentored parishes are. So the red crosses are the mission parishes that do not have full-time priests, and the green crosses are the mentored parishes that, as I said, we're just, trying to help mentor them and provide some support to them as they grow into full sustained parishes. So one thing I didn't include this year in the packet, but that we do have a plan to release maybe every couple weeks starting the first weekend of March, is in past years I've done this legal sized, so it's 2 of the same inserts, and these are designed. Most bulletins in our Metropolis, I've noticed, are legal sized, and so you would copy this and cut it in half and then be able to insert that. And these just focus on various aspects of Comes ministry. Again, another way to help people connect to where the money goes. And what I've decided to do this year is, instead of copying these and sending them out in all the packets, that we'll release them digitally every 2 weeks, and I'll have the link in the resource library and on the blog and on the Mochas for Missions page, so that we can keep things really fresh. And I think we're going to focus more this year on ways that parishes are reaching out in their community or working on, like, for example, like putting up a creative banner to invite people in, or business cards that they've done that have been really nice, or visitor welcome cards that they've done. So just to kind of show off some of the work that's going on in the Missions and Evangelism Ministries around the metropolis. So one more thing before we all unmute and get to talk to one another and maybe even turn on our videos is I wanted to show you, so let's see, I need to share my screen. Okay. So we're going to be looking at the COME website. Okay, there we go. So this is the front page of the COME website. And this is the slider, so it slides through a bunch of different things that are going on. And there's a page that describes the missions parishes and the webinars, which you're now part of. So we're going to click on Mochas for Missions, read more. And this page has kind of all the information that I've just shared about what the campaign model is like. And then some of the items that I showed you, the 2017 helpful tips, the stickers, the fast facts, the campaign launch insert for editing, and that's the one in MS Word that you can put in your own values, the 3 journeys to Orthodoxy, and then eventually we'll have the 2017 inserts that I just talked about. And then here are some photos from some of the parishes that have participated in the past. So again, everything you need is here, it's in the packet. If the packet gets misplaced, give me a call and I will try to replace the items for you. But we put a lot of work into making it meaningful and very helpful and user-friendly. So I hope that you find that's the case. And then there's lots of other good stuff on here, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I'll just show you the resource library really quickly because that is where recorded webinars will end up. So these are some of the resources and things that we offer. And then the Renew Your Welcome Ministry webinar that we had on January 26th is here, and you can watch that video. And there's handouts here and here. And then we'll put this webinar down here. So that's what we got on the website regarding Mochas for Missions. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint really quick. And I know we're getting to that point where I definitely want to have people share, but I want to show you. Oh, that's right. I have a few topics I wanted to talk about really quickly. Why set a goal? I've talked about this a little bit. It's very encouraging for people to be able to see the parish progressing towards the goal. And it's very important that you know when you're done and can put this away. Like, we really don't want parishioners to get that, you know, oh, we're really tired of seeing these canisters on the table all year, or we're really tired of hearing about Mochas for Missions, like it's September now. If you start in March, you know, be done by June 4th, or, you know, don't drag it out. Even if you haven't met your goal, just try to be done. But God willing, you will meet your goal, because people really, like, I think we all feel such a sense of satisfaction when we say, okay, we're going to raise $500. And if we're at, you know, 422 and it's the last Sunday, I'm definitely going to pitch in, because I want to make sure that we all feel that sense of satisfaction of reaching our $500 goal. So I think you'll find that if you set a goal, it'll be very satisfying for everyone to reach it and to be participating in this. But it's also just really important so that you can put it away. We shouldn't, you know, have lethargy over these different campaigns. They should be exciting and fun and have a positive feeling. Somebody that I spoke to recently, you know, she's just really struggled with passing out all the canisters and collecting them back again. And I know that for some parishes, that's just, you know, that's what they do, and it works out really well. And for others, maybe it doesn't work out so well. Maybe you don't get them back, and then you have to call all those people, and that's just another burden on your time. So some of the other things that I've seen work is that you can have disposable coffee cups that you put the labels on. Some people had used zippered bags, which people stuck in their purse. So it wasn't that hard to get them back because they were, it wasn't like a canister that they had to like go home and remember to bring back, but it was a zippered thing that was just like right in their bag. And they could be like, oh, that's right, I forgot, here you go. And other parishes don't even pass out anything, and they just have one central collection spot that's in a prominent place on Sundays. And so people just come by and empty their pockets or put in a donation every Sunday. So another question, or topic to talk about is somebody might say, like, I'm supportive of the ministry, but I'm not sure it will work for us to collect for 3 months. So I really encourage everybody, like, talk to your priest about setting a goal and a short specific time frame. Some parishes do it in August. We have one parish in particular that does it in August. They just said, we have so much going on during Lent and Pascha season that we want to dedicate the month of August to Mochas for Missions. Another parish does a thing where every month of the year, they dedicate their candle donations to a different charity, but they also highlight that charity and talk about it. So it's not just an automatic thing, but they say, they talk about what is going on with that charity and really get the word out. So maybe that month it doesn't fall during the March, April, May period, but it still works for them. So other parishes I've seen will reach their goal by Palm Sunday and they just put it away and they're done. And so they've only done it for like 5 weeks. And some other parishes say, well, we don't want to start till after Pascha because there's so much going on. So we want to start Thomas Sunday and go to Pentecost. How can we give that extra push? So at the end of the campaign, people sometimes say, well, okay, our goal is 500 and we only have 200 and I'm getting nervous. So one thing that I've seen work is that at my parish and at some other parishes, sometimes they'll do like a drawing for a coffee gift card or a really like fun mug that was actually an Orthodox themed mug. And so they say anybody that gives over $20 this Sunday will be entered into the drawing. And that gets people really excited. And that will find them pushing past their goal. Another parish did a sponsored coffee hour. Sometimes they'll have a special speaker or presentations, and we'll get some more ideas from the other people on the call. Another idea that somebody actually emailed me today, they said, remember that towards the end of our campaign last year at St. John the Baptist, we had a special coffee hour. So they put out like, really nice like lace tablecloths and dressed it up and had flowers and nicer snack than usual. They sponsored that and wanted it to be like very, very special. So everybody kind of took notice and was like, oh, okay, what is this coffee hour for? And they asked everybody to give to Mochas for Missions, and that helped us at the end. And it was a really nice way of highlighting the ministry and thanking people too for giving so generously. So I'm just going to go through some quick pictures. Sorry that it's taken a little bit longer than I'm a little behind my ideal schedule. So here's some pictures from St. John the Baptist. This is my parish, and these are mostly from 2015, but you can see creatively they like did a bulletin board and glued coffee beans up on the board as they got towards their goal. And that's the table set up the day that they passed out the cups, and there's somebody holding their cup. This is from Anchorage, Alaska, again from 2015, and they just have a central collection point, and they would empty that and total that money up every Sunday. So they cut a little slit into the coffee cup lid. And the other thing they did really nicely, this picture just shows putting up all the information, putting up the articles. So if you don't end up being able for whatever reason to put them in the newsletter, or you want to do a couple different ways, putting them out for people to read on the bulletin board is a great thing too. This is from Salem, Oregon, which is one of our mission parishes, and they have just done a wonderful job the past 2 years. They've raised over, I believe, over $1,500, both in 2015 and 2016. I can't remember the exact number, but they really have been very supportive and very exuberant about raising money for Mochas for Missions. So the next one. St. Spiridon in San Diego, California, and this is them showing them that they did a very special coffee hour, and that helped them to raise money and reach their goal. They did a great job, and there's more pictures from their Mochas for Missions campaign and display in the newsletter. This is from Santa Barbara in 2015. Nice display, all the articles, they used everything. It was really nice. Hopefully people got connected with the mission. This is hilarious. I loved this. I got this, somebody texted this picture to me actually of Father Andrew Barakis in Assumption, at Assumption Greek Orthodox Church in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I guess every Sunday or whatever Sundays that they collected, maybe they did it once a month, they had somebody dress up as the Mocha. And that certainly got people's attention. So maybe they could put money in the straw. I'm not sure how it worked exactly, but it was super creative and they did a great job. And it was, you know, I love that they were having fun with it because it's supposed to be fun. It's not meant to be a burden or, you know, just one more thing on your list of to-dos, but it's supposed to be a time for, you know, having people get together around a cause creatively, having fun, and being inspired. So that was beautiful. So my summary of, you know, my portion is set a goal, collect every week, and celebrate. Those are the three things. That's it. Very simple. So I'll stop the screen share for now. And I'd love to invite Shane to tell us about how Mochas for Missions went at St. Anna's. I'm going to unmute you, Shane. And then maybe we'll have some other people talk as well.
Okay, hopefully everybody can hear me okay out there. My name is Shane Kennedy. I'm the delegate for Come at St. Anna's in Roseville, California. We're about, I don't know, 30 miles outside of Sacramento. I'm also joined by George Papalius, who is a fellow parishioner with me at St. Anna's. He's our parish council president, on which I also serve as well. So George, nice seeing you, buddy. Or not seeing you because I don't see your face. I better see your face soon, buddy. So I'll just talk really briefly about what Mochas for Missions has been like for us last year. 2016 was the first year that I really got involved with it. There he is. Hey, man. 2016 was the first year I really got involved with it, as that was kind of the first year I was involved with Come. So, you know, I was really surprised how well it turned out for us that year. It was previously hosted by Philoptochos at our parish, and there was some confusion about, you know, the transition last year. So after we kind of got that all squared away, I mean, we just took the materials that you had handed out, Tomita, and we really, to be honest with you, we didn't ever create a poster board, so that's something I'm kind of, I don't know if that was like a secret for why we did okay, but I had to man a table every Sunday, and I think that may have been a reason why we did pretty well last year, was just because there was always a face there and someone who could talk and answer questions. Thankfully I had another gal named Angeliki who was assisting me. She's with Philoptochos, and she was also helping with the materials and things like that. But yeah, we just, for whatever reason, did not ever create a poster board, and I think it worked out okay for us. It doesn't mean we won't create one this year. Hopefully we can finally get around to doing that. So I think that instilled in the parishioners something called top of mind awareness, which is kind of like a marketing sales term, which is basically, you remember the first thing that you hear, like when you think of soda, you probably think of Coke, you know, because they've done so much to market that product, Coke, 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 Coke. Well, it was just because there was someone always there at, like, the, you know, the fellowship hall when people were leaving liturgy. Hey, look at the little booth over here, and people just mosey up and they grab a cup and then they'd be on their way. So yeah, having a person there, I think, is definitely very, at least it helped us. I also, I think I made a lot of announcements after liturgy. I think every week I probably was making an announcement. I probably got on some folks' nerves, but again, it's that top of mind awareness concept where, it's like, oh yeah, once you get it in your head, oh yeah, we got that Mochas for Missions thing. Okay, that's 2 weeks from now. Okay, it's ending in 1 week. Okay, it's the final week. So yeah, just frequency and being on top of people, I think also really helped. We don't do it during Lent. We actually started ours last year after Pascha, and we only had, I think, 4 weeks to actually do Mochas for Missions last year. So I think that goes back to something you were saying, Tomita, which is that, you have a specific amount of time to do it in, and give it some, firm it up a little bit with time. And that way it doesn't feel like people are just like, oh, when is this thing over? Like, how long is this thing dragging out? Because it'll give you a little bit more of a mission, I guess. So that's kind of really the whole thing for me. I mean, I don't know if too much else I could add other than we just have some really generous folks who attend our parish, and people who really love Orthodoxy, and it's not possible without them. So yeah, I mean, that's really it.
Yeah, I think both of those things are great. Like, I know that the other parishes said the same thing about it's really important to have a face there every week. And we do like a sign up, and I recruit different people at our parish. So there's, a team of 2 people. So if one person's sick, at least there's one person there, and they also count the money together and sign off on the deposit thing. So that's always handy. But I totally agree with that. And that's neat that you were so successful even without a poster. It's like the person stood in for so much of that. And the other thing that you said about making announcements every Sunday, if you yourself can't make announcements, but having your priest make an announcement, that's huge. There's so much going on in our parishes. There's so many good, wonderful things. And that's why I'm a huge fan of shorter campaigns and lots of meaningful information and meaningful announcements. So anybody else want to speak up? Feel free to put on your video so we can see your faces. I see we have Father Allen here from San Jose, Rosa from San Jose, Sarah from Roseburg, and then 3 others that I don't know where you're calling from, but feel free to put on your video if you'd like. And I don't know, Sarah, do you have anything can you tell us anything from your campaign? Because I know you did it in Roseburg.
Yeah, hold on. All right, well, I guess my video is staying off. Anyway, okay. Yeah, we had a campaign. We started a little bit late just because it was kind of, we had to figure out who was doing it and everything like that. But we did it was a pretty good campaign, I guess. Eugenia had a great idea, which I think she got from you, perhaps, Tomita, where we made coffee drinks during a coffee hour, and people would donate for them, and they get this special blended like Frappuccino like drink, and that went over really well. So we're gonna do it again this year, and yeah, yeah. So it was good.
Yeah, several people have done that where they've made coffee drinks. We haven't done that at St. John. I think we're just not organized enough to like meet at the end. Because we're like, well, what if we make special coffee drinks and we have like 75 people wanting them all at once? So that has worked for several parishes. So that is an idea too. It's like some people say, I want my mochas and my missions.
Exactly.
Well, I think that about covers it. And we're getting close to the 5 o'clock time, and I want to honor everybody's time. I don't know if Rosa, Father Allen, if you want to share anything or type in a question. But I think that although there's very few of us on the call today, on the webinar, I think that a lot of people that are going to be chosen as leaders are going to be viewing this later. I had several emails from people. So this is meaningful for them, to hear your feedback and your ideas. And God willing, they'll reach out to either you or to me as they start doing these campaigns in their parishes. So I think it's a good start to get together and try to meet face to face and encourage one another, because again, this campaign is really important to our ministry, and it's really about showing people that there is a need for mission work in the United States, and especially for us in the Metropolis of San Francisco to really focus on sharing Orthodoxy and supporting our mission and mentored parishes. And it's also should be fun. So I want them to be able to meet people that are having fun with it and feeling creative about raising this money and very positive. And I know for me that even before I was involved with this ministry as a parishioner, I just really always feel so encouraged when the expectation is very clearly stated. We have this goal, and then there's a very clear time frame, and then there's a celebration at the end of we reached our goal. So I always feel very encouraged by those kinds of campaigns. And when I am able to ask somebody, what does this ministry do? Where is this money going? That always encourages me too to be a donor as well. So thank you so much for attending, and we'll let you go. Thanks, and have a great week. I know we have a few more weeks before Lent, but if I don't see you, have a very blessed Lent.
You too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Tamayuda.
Thank you.